How y'all doing, family? It's Corey Floyd from the Indianapolis Black Firefighters Association, and we're here to just address a lot of the different processes that are going on in Marion County. We're getting so much encouraging feedback about you guys passing your test and going on to the next step, which is the oral interview. So we have provided some great content for you, and we want you guys to stay tuned to us. For those that did not pass, we are here with you. We are going through the grind with you. We're here giving you a virtual hug. These sessions are for you too. The national average is about 6 to 8 times to make it on any kind of municipality, public safety job. So don't get discouraged. Ride with us, and we'll make sure that we give you the keys in order to make it into the job. God always has a plan for you, so stay tuned. It may not happen when you want it to happen, but He will always provide you a way to get where you want to go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Firefighter Dion. Congratulations again. We want to provide you guys with a lot of content on our pages. Make sure you follow, make sure you view the things that we have put up already, with being the oral part and the interview sessions. Just stay tuned. We got more for you.
Hi guys, this is Firefighter Cherie, and just remember to pay attention to the verbal and non-verbal cues on the interviews. Make sure that you are taking notes on what to do, what not to do, and I wish you the best of luck in your interview.
Hi, I'm Firefighter Tracy. I'm the Vice President of the Indianapolis Black Firefighters Association. We want to make sure that you guys are staying connected to us through our social media platforms. Instagram, it's in our bio. On Facebook, it's up above. Pay attention, stay tuned. All of this will take you to our YouTube videos. Good luck. Hello everyone. We have created these mock interview videos to prepare you for if you are in front of a panel. But be mindful, because of the pandemic, you might have a virtual Zoom platform for your interview this time. Here are a few things to take note of. Start now. Build your personal brag list. Be mindful of your background at home. Make sure that you have a good internet connection and that you know how to connect to your Zoom platform. Set a digital clock at your station, wherever it may be, and maybe even grab a bottle of water. Dress as if you are in front of a panel. That means professional or presidential. And last but not least, no distractions. You need a clear 30 minutes to an hour for your interview.
Hi guys, once again, just wanted to reiterate that we are conducting these videos so that you can pay close attention to verbal and nonverbal cues, body language, as well as noting which answers are considered low score, medium score, and high score answers. Some things I want you to consider while you are in the middle of your interview is, since this will probably be virtual, make sure that you have your pets put away. Make sure you have, if there's anyone in your household, make sure all family members are understanding that you are conducting an interview. You want to have your children somewhere where they cannot be heard on camera. You want to make sure, neighbors can sometimes be cutting grass, or dogs can be outside barking. Make sure you have your windows closed. And if you have any alarms set, make sure they're all turned off so that we don't have any distractions or interruptions in the middle of your interview.
Now, we're giving you a lot of information, but here is your time to shine. Let's talk about your personal brag list. Who knows better about you than you? So, when we talk about these categories, these areas, these topics, we want to know if you're dependable, if you're responsible. What have you done physically to prepare yourself to be strong enough to do this job? What's your community involvement? Have you been with camps, churches, give backs, food giveaways? What have you done to make sure that you're involved in your community? Education and training. Do you know a different language? Have you taken your EMT? Have you participated in fire science education? What are the things that you have done to prepare education-wise? And last but not least, your work ethic. Are you dedicated? Are you a team player? Are you able to work as an individual on certain tasks? This is a big job with different areas, and we need to know what good at. Don't be afraid to tell somebody your weaknesses as long as you're trying to better yourself in those weak areas. Don't leave it as just a weakness, but how are you trying to become better at your weakness? And what is the good and bad parts about having that weakness? These are all the things that we would never know unless you tell us. So this is your time to shine. These are people, they need to know why you are the best person for this position and why you have everything in your toolbox to be successful.
Hey guys, here are some additional interview tips. Keep it in mind, since this will more than likely be a virtual interview, traditionally you would arrive 15 to 20 minutes early to your interview, but what we'll have you do this time is make sure you have your workstation set up 15 to 20 minutes prior to your scheduled interview. Make sure your computer is up. Make sure that you have the link, you're ready to log into it, you have everything ready to go. Make sure you are dressed appropriately. The presidential appearance is what you should aim for. Make sure you're being polite. Use please and thank you when necessary. Be attentive with enthusiasm. Make sure you're showing confidence and poise, but don't be too dominant or arrogant. Make sure that you're being mature. Don't try to tell any wisecracks or jokes. You know, it's not comedy hour. Just make sure you're being yourself. Get your point across, get your answer in there without trying to talk too much. And don't answer in a way that you think they want to hear. Answer from the heart, give your true answers, and just give them what you have. Don't forget to brag on yourself. And then don't use any slang terms at all. It's not a time for that. Use proper English, and don't use any vulgar language as well. And then you want to always remember to wait until a question is completely answered or completely given to you before you answer it. Make sure you're listening carefully. Sometimes questions have two-part answers. So if they're giving you a question, make sure you're listening carefully before you answer so that you can answer multiple questions if necessary. And always remember how much time you have. You have 2 minutes for each question, so be mindful of your time and make sure that you are before the test, 2 weeks prior to your test, or I'm sorry, not test, your interview. 2 weeks prior to your interview, make sure that you have rehearsed, you have gone over all of your answers, all of your questions, and just make sure that you are ready, you're motivated, and you're going to knock it out of the park.
All right, guys, so we're going to start off with the rules and regulations. A lot of people think those are the same, but you got to realize that they're not. Rules and regulations are, gives a job description for the firefighter, lets the public know who we are, and sets a tone for professionalism. Rules are going to be those parameters that we work within. Regulations are going to be like the laws that we work, that set those rules.
Help guide us. Yeah.
To help guide us in. So you can either realize what you've done in past jobs or in your life that involve rules and regulations, learn how to tie that into the job, explain that with yourself, and then convey that over to the interviewers.
Excellent, excellent. Rules and regulations also keep us safe. All right, so without rules and regulations, our society wouldn't know how to operate. Everybody would kind of do their own thing, and safety would be thrown out the window. So make sure that you guys, as we go over these points, look up the definitions of these different words. Make sure that you understand them. That way when a question gets thrown at you, I would probably lead with, this is the definition of rules and regulations. And I understand that following rules and regulations, first off, keep us safe. They keep us within the guidelines and parameters of law, and they allow our society to move forward in a safe and productive manner. So we want to make sure that we know those definitions before we move on. All right? So the next point will be prejudice. And we wrote these here deliberately. Prejudices, biasness, and diversity. Those are going to be the areas in which those questions come from. We all have different prejudices and biases that we've grown up in. We're partial to our culture because we grow up in that culture. But sometimes if we don't take the time to get to know someone and learn those differences, we cannot appreciate where they come from, and that will touch on diversity. Diversity comes from a wide range of things. It's not just the color of your skin or where you're from. It can be age, economic status, your height, fat, tall, whatever it is, these are all differences. And in order for us to embrace diversity, we have to get to know one another. We have to embrace it, get to know what his culture like. He gets to know what my culture like. It makes everyone comfortable, and then you can understand where I come from. So those are a lot of different things that we need to think about. Look up the definitions and formulate life experiences that we've had that show that we're okay with diversity and that we know how to formulate our answers, and we know how to deal with the community that we serve that is more diverse than anything else that we encounter on a daily basis.
Right. And so to go with that presence of diversity, guys, you got to realize that most of these things at the age of 21, the minimum age requirement for the job, we've experienced most of these things. So try to dig deep and look back in your life and see what you've experienced and associate them with these words up here.
Excellent, excellent. The next one's going to be conflict resolution. You want to tackle that one, D?
Yeah, so conflict resolution, that's a big issue on the job here. You got up to 8 to 10 guys in the firehouse at the same time. So you've experienced issues with conflict resolution throughout your life. You got to dig deep and figure out how you're going to resolve those issues. On the job specifically, how you want to answer some of these questions pertaining to the interview, you want to answer it straight ahead, conflict resolution, what are you going to do about it? So first you're going to try to look at yourself, look within, and see if you're the issue. If not, go ask a friend for help, go ask a supervisor for help, try to talk to that individual head on. And so just look up some definitions, look up online is a good source, is a good resource for you to look up some of these things. Just firefighter conflict resolution, that's good resources online for that.
Definitely. And then also understanding, make sure that you guys research the fire department. Research the department that you're trying to come on to. Know some information about that department. And that will help you to solve a lot of these questions and answer some of these questions with some intelligence and to know that you've done some research on this department that you want to kind of come on to. As he touched on, that conflict resolution, then that kind of goes and touches base with chain of command. Okay, it's a paramilitary organization. That's a part of doing that. And all that means is that the framework of the fire department is based off of the military. So we know that there's going to be a rank, file, and structure of the people that we come in contact with. When you come on the job, you'll be a private, and then there's an engineer, and then there's a lieutenant, and then there's a captain, and then there's a chief. We have to know how to operate in between there. So if me and Dion have a beef at work, we're always supposed to solve it on the lowest level possible. They say that this is paramilitary, but in my opinion, these are all biblical principles, all right? If I have a problem with my brother, I have to go to him and try to solve that problem by myself, by ourselves. We try to handle it on the lowest level. If he doesn't want to hear me, or we get into an argument or a quarrel then we try to bring in a mediator, to someone to help us walk through this discussion. And then one of us has to be the bigger man or the bigger person and say, you know what, I love you, we want to squash this, and we move on. If we can't do it with that mediator, then we start to walk up the chain of command. I go to my officer and I say, hey, we got this issue. He steps in, he's the mediator, and hopefully with his superior rank and with the tools that he has, he can help mitigate that situation. But if he can't solve it, then I know I go to the next step. And what did I say that was? That would be my captain. And he will help orchestrate that. And then if we can't fix that, then so on and so on. As we go up the chain, we can get that problem solved. So that's all inside of conflict resolution. All right? So just as he stated, you want to always self-reflect. That should be the first thing that you do. Because sometimes we can say things and do things that we don't know if it offends the other person, and we have to check ourselves. Go to him and say, hey man, did I offend you? Was there something that I said? If so, I apologize. Can we move on? Those are ways of being mature and handling yourself in the midst of a conflict, okay?
Right, another thing about that, guys, invest in yourself, and part of that is researching the job that you're trying to get. So the more you know about the fire department, the more you know about captains and lieutenants and chain of command, the better you're going to be served with these questions when they arise.
Excellent. Next point is going to be stress management. Stress management is huge. We have one of the most stressful jobs in the world. You're going to see things that you've probably never seen before, and a lot of people say that human beings shouldn't see. You're going to be in the midst of people and coming to people's rescue at the worst times of their lives. You know, we're doing, as I say all the time, this is God's work. God uses us. This is God's providence in order for us to help people at the worst time of their lives. We are those angels, if you will, that come and play and solve every issue that comes into those people's lives. So that poses a stress to us because of the things that we see, the things that we encounter, the type of work that we have, the sleep deprivation that we're going to come onto, because we have to respond to calls whenever they come in. No ifs, ands, buts about it. I don't care if you're eating. I don't care if you got to go to the bathroom. I don't care if you were studying, if you were watching your favorite show. We are at the public's beck and call when they call 911. So ways that I handle stress is I'm very involved in my church in faith. So prayer, meditation are things that help me to work through the things that I've seen, the things that I've encountered on the job. I keep a good diet. I sleep. I make sure that I get the proper amount of sleep for my body to regulate the stress that I take in. I work out to make sure that my body's strong enough to withstand those different things that they're going to encounter. You know, from doing extrications to fighting fires to going in and lifting patients and getting them where they need to go. There are so many different ways that we can mitigate the stress and take care of those things. And you guys have to figure out what is it that you do to maintain and keep a low stress level in your life.
Yeah, guys, just take a notepad and write down some of the people that are close to you, write down friends that you would talk to. You got to look in the mirror sometimes. You got to self-reflect and see what those stressors are. It's all a part of the stress management, chain of command, problem solving. It's conflict resolution as well. If you can answer this question, you can answer some of those other ones. It's just a tiered format of a way of looking at yourself and trying to figure out what's wrong. And if there's something wrong that you can't take care of yourself, you can't get rid of that stressor, you need to find somebody to talk to, whether it's a family member, whether it's a friend, whether it's an officer. So just when you get into that interview and they're asking these questions, if you can already have a list of things, you've already walked through that, you've already talked through that, you just know what to spit back out at them, and just go from there.
Excellent, excellent. And since we've already kind of touched chain of command, we're going to move on to problem solving. And problem solving is huge. I look at every situation. I try to look at my interview as a problem. So if they ask me a question, I try to follow the steps to problem solving. You guys can go online. There'll be from 5 steps all the way up to 8 steps, depending on what you find. But they all follow the same criteria. All right? So first you have to be able to identify that there is a problem. Once you identify that there is a problem, then you have to collect data about that problem. All right? What caused it? What is causing it? And what can I do to all the information that's involved? I have to know both sides of the story to get to the truth, right? Once I get all of that data, then I have to formulate an implementation, a solution to that problem, all right? Once I formulated that solution to the problem, then I have to implement it, all right? So what are we on? Step 4. So we implement that solution. Once we implement it, then we observe. We sit back and watch and see if that solution has helped solve that problem. So that's 5 steps there. And then if you go on to the internet and find something that go to 8, what it is that once you've seen if that helped that solution, if it helped it a little bit, but you think that you need to tweak your intervention or your solution to the problem, then you go back to the next step where you check that data and then you implement another solution, or you implement or change or tweak that solution to try to make sure that we're encompassing the whole problem that we have. All right, so those are the 5 steps to problem solving. You can attack each one of these areas with that. If you look at the question that you have as rules and regs or prejudice, that's the problem. They're trying to figure out, what are my prejudices? What are my biases? I look at that as the problem. Then I collect all my data, all my experiences from that brag list that I wrote down from earlier. Then I formulate my answer, and then I give it to the interviewers. If I think of anything else in between, I can interject that. But you guys should already, with us giving you this criteria and these points, you should already have formulated answers already ready to go in these areas. So it's very important that you study, look up these definitions, and make sure that you attack every question as it is a single question. That is a huge point in this. Never assume that when you answer the first question that they're going to give you points on a question that comes maybe at question 4. So don't be afraid to repeat yourself and use that same answer.
Oh yeah, well, I was going to say about those five steps. Use that. Insert yourself into that. Every one of these is about you. So you want to tell your story. Once you get to the problem-solving chain of command, find an issue in your life that you've experienced that you can insert those same things into. I would take each one of these. Take rules and regs. Take one page out. Write everything that you have in your life about rules and regs. Prejudice. Go to the next page. Flip a page. Write prejudice. Find some things that in your life that you've experienced prejudice, or seen it, or understood it, whatever. Just put it down. Write it down. Diversity, same thing. So when you get to problem solving, good problem, bad problem. We've all had issues that we've had to go through and take steps and learn from and ask friends about and see what we can do to fix it. And that's what the job's all about. They just want to see that you can think through things and get to a solution for it.
Excellent, excellent. All right, the next point, and some people always ask, what's a soapbox? This is going to give you the time to stand in front of those interviewers and tell us everything about you. For the fellas out there in the virtual world, I kind of tell you, just like you saw this beautiful woman from across the room, and there's a bunch of guys in there, but what makes you different? What makes her choose you? This is your opportunity to sell yourself to her or to this organization. So look at whatever fire department you're going for. Look at that like the girl of your dreams, and let her know all the positive things about you and why she should select you. That's what the soapbox is about. Why you want to be a firefighter. What have you done to prepare to be a firefighter? This is that soapbox question. So tell us about all your achievements from the time you was 8 years old all the way up until the time that you're 21 or however old you are. Tell us everything about you and be confident and stand up and respectable when you're telling us about this. And because nobody knows anything about you, you know everything about you. So don't be afraid to brag on yourself and the accomplishments and the things that you've done in your life that make you a great candidate to be selected for this career. Because this is not just a job, it is a career.
They won't know until you tell them. So you can't assume that they know you. You played football, played baseball, done community service. Until you tell them, they don't know. So find a way to interest yourself in any of these topics here. Because it's going to come up. We don't know how it's going to be asked, but this is it. That's all. Every question is going to pertain to these keywords right here. So once you figure that out and you just go through a repetition and you have your list, you've been through your list, you've had your experiences written down, you know yourself, obviously. So just practice on those things and come up with the answers to these questions here. Because this is a question.
Excellent, excellent. And then last but not least is social media. Social media is an ever-growing thing in our society. It's becoming essential. Businesses are using it. Individuals are using it on public platforms to spew their views and their thoughts and share it with the world. It puts you on a pedestal sometimes. It can be positive, but there can be some negative effects to it as well. So be responsible, be mature on the way that you use social media. Understanding that as a public servant, you're a firefighter 24/7. It doesn't matter if you're on shift or if you're off shift. If you have any kind of Maltese Cross emblem identifying you as a firefighter, people are looking to you to be a role model, to be responsible, to do the right thing, and to set an example for your community. So what you post personally on shift and off of shift, you are being the representative for your department. They're going to think that your department thinks the way that you think or has the same opinions that you have posted. And sometimes that's not always so. So what I tell people to do is try to keep those things separate. Keep your opinions and the way that you feel, because you are a public figure, separate from being a firefighter. And just be a man or a woman of integrity. Be honest in the way that you conduct your life and be an example. Be an example. That's what we call you to do. Those are the type of people that we would like to have on our department and any other department for that matter. So please be a woman or a man of integrity and be careful with what you put online, what you share on your social media platforms.
And that's past and present. It stays with you. Once you hit that send button, it's there forever. So just be mindful, like you said, be mindful of what you post, what you like, what you repost, whatever it may be. You wear this badge like you wear your last name. It's always going to be with you as long as you're on this job. And whatever you do under that name is going to reflect it on the department and yourself. So just be careful.
So definitely, guys, look up safe practices for social media. Be ready for a question in that area. How you conduct yourself. If you were put in a situation, how would you handle yourself? We work in the public, so people have there are cameras everywhere, phone cameras everywhere, and we're gonna have the ability to be filmed at any time, and we have to understand that and not get offended by someone taking a picture of us or taking a video of us on a scene. And if you do have to mitigate a situation, how will you use your conflict resolution skills and problem solving skills out on the run, out in the public, in order to squash that situation? It's so many different ways and angles that you can answer these questions with your life experiences. We just wanted to give you the tools, kind of let you know this is probably 90% of the area that you guys are going to be questioned out of. So you guys get a full head start on how to formulate your answers and be ready for what's coming at your oral interview. We hope this all helped you, and we are so glad that you decided to chart a career in the fire service, and we will do everything that we can to help you get ready and just be ready for your interview. Thank you so much for tuning in.
Thank you guys for your time. Good luck.